The phone rang at 2:17 a.m. I know the exact time because I'd been staring at the clock for 3 minutes already, unable to sleep. My knees had been aching again. At 67, you learn to live with these things. I reached for the phone on my nightstand. The number wasn't one I recognized, but the area code was local, Vancouver, my warehouse district. Mr. Chen? The voice was young, stressed. Marcus, my night security guard. Sir, I'm sorry to call so late, but there's a situation here you need to know about. My heart started pounding. 43 years I'd been running my logistics company. 43 years, and I'd never gotten a call like this. What kind of situation? It's your son-in-law, sir, Derek. He's here at the main warehouse. He's got documents, legal papers. He's saying he owns the company now. He's telling me I work for him. I didn't know what to do, so I called you first. I sat up in bed, fully awake now. The aching in my knees forgotten. Derek is there? At 2 in the morning? Yes, sir. He showed up 20 minutes ago. Had his own key somehow. He's in your office right now, going through files. When I tried to stop him, he showed me these papers. They look official, Mr. Chen. They have your signature on them. My signature. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not panic. Not yet. Just a cold, heavy knowing. Marcus, I said, keeping my voice steady. Don't let him leave. Tell him I'm on my way. Tell him I need to verify the documents personally. Yes, sir. Should I call the police? Not yet. Just keep him there. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I hung up and sat on the edge of my bed for a moment. My wife Helen had passed away 6 years ago. The house was quiet, too quiet. I looked at the photo of her on the nightstand. Helen, I whispered, I think we were right to be worried. I'd immigrated to Canada from Hong Kong in 1981. 23 years old, barely spoke English, had $200 in my pocket and a business degree that wasn't worth much here. But I had something more important. I had a plan, and I had the willingness to work harder than anyone else. I started in the warehouse of a shipping company, loading trucks. Within 5 years, I was managing logistics for them. Within 10, I'd saved enough to start my own small operation. Now, 43 years later, Chen Logistics handled freight for half the ports in British Columbia. 2 warehouses, 47 employees, contracts with major retailers across Canada. I'd built it myself. Every contract, every relationship, every dollar earned through fair dealing and hard work. And now someone was trying to take it. I got dressed quickly. Jeans, a button-down shirt, my old jacket. As I was putting on my shoes, I made another call, to a number I hadn't dialed in 3 months. He answered on the second ring. Victor, do you know what time it is? James, I need your help. Can you meet me at my warehouse, the main one on Terminal Avenue? There was a pause. James Park had been my friend since 1983. We'd met at an ESL class, 2 immigrants trying to build lives in a new country. He'd become an RCMP officer, worked his way up to major crimes, then moved to the Canada Border Services Agency. He'd retired 2 years ago, but old habits die hard. What's going on? His voice was alert now, professional. I think someone's trying to steal my company. My son-in-law. He's at the warehouse right now with documents he claims give him ownership. Documents with my signature that I never signed. Forgery? That's what I need to find out. I'll be there in 25 minutes. Don't confront him alone, Victor. If he's desperate enough to forge documents, he might be dangerous. I'll be careful. I drove through the empty streets of Vancouver, my mind racing. Derek Morrison, my daughter's husband for the past 5 years. 42 years old, worked in pharmaceutical sales, always wore expensive suits, and drove a leased BMW. Charming, smooth talker, the kind of man who could sell ice to people in the Arctic. I'd never fully trusted him, if I'm being honest. Not because he'd done anything specific, just a feeling. The way he looked at things, calculating their value. The way he asked questions about my business, always framing them as casual interest, but pressing for details about accounts, assets, legal structures. Helen had seen it too, before she died. There's something about him I don't like, she'd told me once. The way he looks at Lisa, like she's an investment, not a wife. But Lisa loved him. My daughter, my only child, 40 years old, and finally happy after 2 failed relationships. Who was I to interfere? So I'd kept quiet, kept watching, kept my important documents locked away in places Derek didn't know about. Apparently, I'd been right to worry. The warehouse loomed ahead, its security lights casting long shadows. I pulled into the parking lot and saw Derek's BMW parked right in front of the main entrance. Arrogant. He'd parked in my spot. I sat in my car for a moment, collecting my thoughts. Through the window, I could see lights on in the second-floor office. My office, where I'd worked late so many nights, building this company into something I could be proud of. My phone buzzed. A text from James. 2 minutes away. Wait for me. I waited. The cold January air seeped into the car. Vancouver winters aren't harsh like Toronto or Montreal, but the dampness gets into your bones. Or maybe that was just age talking. James's car pulled up beside mine. He got out, tall and solid despite being 70 years old now. Retired or not, he still moved like someone who could handle himself. "Tell me everything," he said. I did. The late-night call from Marcus. The documents. The signature I never made. Derek's sudden appearance at 2 in the morning. "You keep your important documents somewhere secure?" James asked. "Always. The real ownership papers, the corporate structure documents, everything important is in a safety deposit box at the bank. And I have copies in a secure location that only my lawyer knows about. This warehouse has working documents, contracts, invoices. Nothing that could transfer ownership. Smart. If he's forged documents, he's committed fraud. But we need to prove it. You have your real documents with you?" "I have photos on my phone. And I can call my lawyer, have him verify what the real paperwork looks like." "Good. Let's go see what your son-in-law has to say for himself." We walked into the warehouse together. Marcus was waiting in the ground-floor security office, looking nervous. He was 24, working nights to pay for his criminology degree. Good kid. "Mr. Chen. He's still upstairs. He's been on the phone a lot. Sounded like he was talking to someone about valuations, about taking over operations." "Thank you, Marcus. This is James Park, an old friend, former RCMP and CBSA. He's here to help sort this out." Marcus looked relieved. "Should I come up with you?" "No. Stay here. If anyone else shows up, call me immediately." James and I climbed the stairs to the second floor. My knees protested, but I ignored them. Through the office window, I could see Derek sitting at my desk. My desk. Feet up, talking on his phone, laughing about something. I opened the door without knocking. Derek looked up, and for just a second, I saw surprise in his eyes. Then it was gone, replaced by that smooth smile of his. "Victor, what are you doing here at this hour? You should be home, resting. At your age, you need your sleep. At my age." As if I were senile. As if I were too old to understand what was happening in my own company. "Marcus called me," I said. "He told me you're here with documents claiming you own my company." Derek's smile didn't waver. He swung his feet off the desk and stood up, straightening his tie. Even at 2 in the morning, he looked polished. "Not your company anymore, Victor. Mine. Well, mine and Lisa's. We're taking over. You've had a good run, but it's time for the younger generation to step in. You understand? Show me the documents." He gestured to the papers spread across my desk. "Right here, all legal and proper. Ownership transfer agreement. Signed by you 3 months ago. You really should remember signing these, Victor. Maybe you're having memory issues? That happens at your age." I stepped closer, picked up the first document. James stood in the doorway, silent, watching. The document looked official. Expensive paper, legal formatting, corporate seals, and there, at the bottom, was my signature. Victor Chen, in the same flowing script I'd used for 40 years. Except I'd never signed this. Never even seen it before. "This is a forgery," I said. Derek's expression shifted. Not to guilt or fear, to pity, manufactured pity, the kind salespeople use when they're about to close a deal on someone vulnerable. "Victor, I know this is hard to accept, but we talked about this. You agreed it was time to step back. You signed these papers in October, remember? We had that dinner, and afterward, you said you were ready to let go. Lisa was there. She'll confirm it. Lisa was there when I supposedly signed ownership of my company over to you? Well, she was at dinner. The signing happened in the restaurant parking lot. You said you wanted to make it official right away. Look, I understand you're confused. This is a big change. But it's already done. The company is mine now. I'm going to make some changes, modernize things, really take it to the next level. He actually believed I'd fall for this, that I was just some confused old man who couldn't remember what he'd signed. Where's Lisa now? I asked. Home. Asleep. She doesn't know I came here tonight. I wanted to get familiar with the operations before we make the announcement tomorrow. Victor, you should go home. Get some rest. We can talk more in the morning, when you're clearer. When I'm clearer. As if I were the one who was confused. I turned to James. What do you think? Derek seemed to notice James for the first time. His eyes narrowed. Who's this? James Park, James said, his voice flat and professional. I'm a friend of Victor's, retired CBSA. I saw Derek's face change, just slightly, a tightening around the eyes. CBSA, Canada Border Services Agency. The people who investigate cross-border fraud, smuggling, document forgery. Well, this is a family matter, Derek said. I don't think we need law enforcement involvement. This is just Victor having some confusion about business transitions. Show me your identification, James said. Excuse me? You're on private property at 2 in the morning, claiming ownership based on documents the owner says are forged. I'd like to see your identification. Derek hesitated, then pulled out his wallet. James examined his driver's license, then handed it back. Mr. Morrison, do you have any other documentation proving your right to be here besides those papers on the desk? Those papers are all I need. They transfer ownership legally. May I see them? Derek's jaw tightened. Like I said, this is a family matter. Victor, may I examine the documents? James asked me. Please. James put on a pair of reading glasses and picked up the transfer agreement. He studied it carefully, holding it up to the light, running his fingers across the signature. Victor, do you have the photos of your real documents on your phone? I pulled out my phone, opened the secure folder where I kept scanned copies of everything important, the real ownership papers, the real corporate structure, my real signature from recent documents. James compared them silently. Then he looked at Derek. Mr. Morrison, this signature is a forgery. That's ridiculous. Victor signed these himself. He's just having memory problems. The ink is wrong, James said calmly. Real signatures from Victor's other documents from that time period were done in blue ink, felt-tip pen. This is black ink, ballpoint. The pressure patterns are wrong. The way the V connects to the I is different. And most importantly, the paper has been artificially aged. You can see the coffee staining at the edges where someone tried to make it look older. Derek's face had gone pale. You can't prove any of that. Actually, I can. I spent 20 years investigating document fraud. But we don't need to rely on my expertise alone. Victor, I assume you'd like to call your lawyer? I would, I said, keeping my voice steady despite the anger building in my chest. I called Robert Davidson, my lawyer for the past 15 years. He answered grumpy and half asleep, but when I explained what was happening, he went into professional mode immediately. I have the real documents at my office, Victor. I can be there in 40 minutes. Don't let him leave. I hung up. Derek was looking at the door now, calculating. You're not leaving, I said. Not until we sort this out. You can't hold me here. That's illegal. You're right, James said. But I can call the Vancouver Police Department and report a suspected fraud in progress. They'd be very interested in those documents, and in how you got a key to this facility. I have a right to be here. I'm family. Your family who's attempting to steal a company through forged documents, I said, and I felt something break inside me. Not my composure. Something deeper. The last piece of hope that maybe this was all a misunderstanding. Why? I asked. Just tell me why. Was it money? Was it ego? What did I do to make you think you could do this to my daughter's family? Derek's mask finally slipped. The smooth salesman facade cracked, and underneath was something uglier: resentment, entitlement. "You didn't do anything for me," he said. "5 years I've been married to Lisa, and what have you given us? Nothing. You're sitting on millions in assets, and you treat me like I'm not good enough to be part of this family. Lisa deserves better than waiting for her inheritance. We deserve what you've built. Lisa will inherit when I die. That's how it works. You're 67. You could live another 20 years. We have plans. We have goals. We can't wait that long. So you decided to steal it. I decided to take what should be ours anyway. You're old, Victor. You're past your prime. This company needs young blood, new ideas. I was doing you a favor, giving you a graceful exit. A graceful exit would have been asking me to retire, not forging my signature and showing up at my warehouse in the middle of the night." Derek's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression changed. Fear, finally. "That's Lisa," he said. "She's wondering where I am." "Answer it," I said. "Tell her the truth." "Victor, please. We can work this out. I made a mistake, okay? I shouldn't have tried to do it this way. But we can fix this. I'll destroy these documents. We'll pretend this never happened. I'll apologize to Lisa. We'll move on as a family." "The truth," I repeated. Derek stared at me, then at James, then at his phone. It stopped buzzing. A moment later, it buzzed again. Lisa, calling back. He answered. "Put it on, speaker." His hand was shaking. "Derek, where are you? It's almost 3 in the morning. "I'm at your dad's warehouse, honey." "What? Why?" Derek looked at me. I looked back, waiting. There was a problem with some documents. Your dad called me to come look at them. Lying even now. Even with everything falling apart around him. I took the phone from his hand. "Lisa, it's Dad." "Dad? What's going on? Why is Derek at the warehouse?" "He's here because he tried to steal the company. He forged documents with my signature, claiming I transferred ownership to him. He showed up here at 2 in the morning to start taking over operations." Silence. Long, painful silence. "Dad, that can't be true. Derek wouldn't. There must be some misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding, sweetheart. James is here. You remember James Park?" He examined the documents. "They're forged. And Derek just admitted to me that he did it because he didn't want to wait for an inheritance." More silence. Then, "Let me talk to Derek." I handed the phone back to him. "Lisa, I can explain," he started. "Is it true?" Her voice was sharp now, all the softness gone. "Did you try to steal my father's company?" "It's not stealing when it should be ours anyway. Your dad is getting old. He's not sharp like he used to be. And we could. Did you forge his signature?" Derek's shoulders slumped. "Yes. I heard my daughter make a sound I'd never heard before. A kind of broken, furious noise. "Stay there," she said. "I'm coming." The line went dead. Derek sank into the chair behind my desk. All the arrogance was gone now. He looked small, defeated. "She's going to leave me," he said. "Yes," I replied. "She is. I did this for us. For our future. You did this for yourself. And you did it in the stupidest way possible. Did you really think I wouldn't notice someone trying to steal my company? Did you think I was so far gone I wouldn't fight back? I thought you'd be reasonable, that you'd see it was time to step aside. If I'd wanted to step aside, I would have asked for your help. But I never would have asked for yours, Derek, because I never trusted you. Not from the day you married my daughter." His head jerked up. "You never gave me a chance. I gave you 5 years. 5 years of watching how you treat my daughter. Like an acquisition. Like something you won. I gave you 5 years of polite dinners and family gatherings where you'd ask questions about my business, always probing, always calculating. I knew what you were. I just didn't think you'd be stupid enough to act on it." The next 40 minutes were some of the longest of my life. Robert Davidson arrived first, examined the forged documents, compared them to the real ones he'd brought from his office safe. Then he took photographs, made notes, started building a case. Lisa arrived at 3:45 a.m., still in her pajamas, with a coat thrown over them, her face pale and stunned. She looked at Derek like she was seeing him for the first time. "Tell me everything," she said. So I did. The forged documents, the fake ownership transfer, Derek's plan to take over while claiming I was senile, his admission that he'd done it because he didn't want to wait for an inheritance. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she turned to Derek. "How long have you been planning this?" "Lisa, please." "How long?" "6 months," he admitted. "I found a guy online who specializes in document replication. Cost me $8,000. $8,000 to betray my father. To betray me. To steal from my family. I was going to share it with you. We were going to run the company together, take it bigger, make more money. Your dad was holding it back with his old-fashioned ways. My dad built this company from nothing. He came to this country with $200 and worked loading trucks for 5 years. Everything he has, he earned. And you thought you could just take it because you didn't want to wait? Because you felt entitled to it? I thought you'd understand. I thought you'd want more than just being the boss's daughter." Lisa's laugh was bitter. "I've never been just the boss's daughter. I'm the operations manager. I've worked here for 12 years, earning my position. Dad was already training me to take over eventually. All you had to do was wait, be patient, maybe actually work for something in your life instead of just selling pharmaceutical samples and driving a leased BMW. You never told me he was training you to take over. Because it wasn't your business. This is my family's company, not yours. You married me, Derek. You didn't marry Chen Logistics." Robert cleared his throat. "Victor, I need to know what you want to do here. We have clear evidence of fraud. Forged signatures, attempted theft, possibly conspiracy. We can involve the police." I looked at Derek, sitting in my chair, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. I looked at my daughter, her face a mixture of hurt and rage. I looked at James, my old friend, standing patiently by the door. "What do you think, James?" "Legally, he's committed a serious crime. Forgery, fraud, attempted theft. Could be 5 to 10 years. But," he glanced at Lisa, "there are other considerations." "Dad," Lisa said quietly, "if you want to press charges, I'll support you. What he did, there's no excuse for it." I thought about Helen, what she would have wanted. Not revenge, probably, but not passivity, either. She would have wanted justice. She would have wanted our daughter protected. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "Derek, you're going to sign a full confession. Everything you did, how you did it, who helped you. Robert will witness it and notarize it. Then you're going to leave. You're going to move out of the house you share with my daughter. You're going to cooperate fully with the divorce proceedings, and you're not going to contest anything. You're going to take whatever settlement Lisa's lawyer offers, and you're going to be grateful for it. And if I don't, then I call the police right now, and you spend the next decade in prison, and I'll make sure every person you ever sold pharmaceuticals to knows you're a forger and a fraud. Your career will be over. Your reputation will be destroyed. You'll have nothing." Derek stared at me for a long moment. Then he nodded. Robert produced the confession documents. Derek signed them with shaking hands. It took an hour to get everything done properly, all the legal formalities observed. When it was finished, Derek stood up. He looked at Lisa one last time. "I really did love you," he said. "No, you didn't," she replied. "You loved what you thought I could give you. There's a difference." He left. I watched through the window as he got into his BMW and drove away. The sun was just starting to rise, painting the Vancouver sky in shades of pink and orange. Lisa sat down in my office chair, the one Derek had been in an hour ago. She looked exhausted. "I'm so sorry, Dad." "You have nothing to be sorry for. I brought him into our family. I didn't see what he was. He was good at hiding it. Helen saw through him, though. She told me once she didn't trust him." "She did?" Lisa looked up, tears in her eyes. "She did. But she also said that you needed to figure it out yourself. That if we tried to warn you, you'd just defend him harder. She was right about that, too." Lisa laughed, a small, sad sound. She was always right. We sat in silence for a while. James and Robert had left, giving us privacy. Through the window, I could see the warehouse floor below, pallets of goods ready to ship, forklifts lined up, all the machinery of the business I'd built. Dad, were you really planning to retire soon? Eventually, but on my own terms, when I was ready. And I was training you to take over. You're right about that. You've earned it. You've worked here 12 years, learned every aspect of the business. When the time comes, it'll be yours. Not because you're my daughter, because you've proven you can run it. When will that be? I smiled. When I'm ready. Maybe 5 years, maybe 10. I'll know when the time is right. And if I want to make changes, modernize things, then we'll discuss them. Like partners. Like family should. She nodded. Then she said, he was right about one thing. You know, you are getting older. Your knees hurt. You get tired more easily. What if something happens to you before you retire officially? I've got everything documented. Robert has succession plans, buy-sell agreements, everything. If I die tomorrow, the company goes to you, free and clear. Derek couldn't have taken it even if his forgery had worked, because the real documents are locked away safely. You knew he might try something, I suspected. He was too interested in the business structure, too curious about asset valuations. After Helen died, I made sure everything was locked down tight, just in case. Dad, you're kind of paranoid, you know that? I prefer cautious. Paranoid is when you're wrong. I was right. She laughed again, more genuinely this time. Then she stood up and hugged me. Thank you for protecting what you built, for protecting me, even though I didn't know I needed protecting. I hugged her back. That's what fathers do. The sun was fully up now. It was going to be a beautiful day, despite the long, difficult night. Go home, I told her. Get some sleep. Take the day off. Take the week off if you need it. Deal with the divorce. Get Derek out of your house. Take care of yourself. What about you? I'm going to stay here for a bit. Walk the warehouse. Remind myself why I built this in the first place. She left. I stood alone in my office, looking out at the sunrise over Vancouver, the city I'd come to 43 years ago, with nothing but hope and determination. The city where I'd built a life, raised a daughter, created something worth protecting. My phone buzzed. A text from James. You did good, my friend. Get some rest. I texted back. Thank you for being there. I couldn't have done it without you. Another text. This one from Robert. Confession is locked in my safe. Derek won't cause problems. I'll make sure of it. I put my phone away and walked down to the warehouse floor. Marcus was still there, doing his rounds. He looked relieved to see me. Everything okay, Mr. Chen? Everything's fine, Marcus. Thank you for calling me. You did exactly the right thing. Is your son-in-law? Is he going to be in trouble? He's going to be divorced and starting his life over. That's trouble enough. I walked through the aisles of pallets, running my hand along the inventory labels. Every item represented a contract honored, a promise kept, a customer served. This was what I'd built. Not just a company, a reputation, relationships, trust. Derek had thought he could take it with forged documents and smooth talk. But a business isn't just paperwork and assets. It's the person behind it. The integrity. The years of proving yourself reliable. You can't forge that. I thought about what Derek had said. That I was old, past my prime. That the company needed young blood. Maybe he was right about the age part. I was 67. My knees hurt. I got tired more easily than I used to. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I'd spent 43 years building this company. I'd weathered recessions, competition, the death of my wife, the changes in technology and business practices. I'd adapted, learned, grown, and I still had more to do. More to teach Lisa. More to prove to myself. Derek had tried to take my company, but really, he'd tried to take my dignity, my sense of purpose, my identity as a man who'd built something worth having. And that was something I'd never let anyone take. Not my son-in-law. Not age. Not anything. I stood in the middle of my warehouse as the morning light streamed through the high windows, and I felt something settle in my chest. Not anger anymore. Not even satisfaction. Peace. I'd protected what mattered. I'd stood up for myself when it counted. I'd taught my daughter a hard lesson about trust and betrayal, but also about strength and integrity. And I was still standing. My phone rang. It was Lisa. "Dad, I just wanted to make sure you're okay." "I'm fine, sweetheart. Better than fine." I was thinking, when you do retire, eventually, maybe we could work together for a while first, a transition period, so you can teach me everything you know. I smiled. I'd like that very much. "And Dad, no more secrets. If you're worried about someone, tell me. Even if you think I won't listen, I'll listen now." "I will, I promise." We hung up. I took one last walk through the warehouse, then headed home. The house was quiet when I got there. Empty. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Helen and I had eaten breakfast for 30 years. "We did good, Helen," I said to the empty room. "Our girl is strong. She'll be okay." And she would be, because she'd learned from us. Not just how to run a business, but how to stand up for herself. How to recognize when someone was using you. How to choose dignity over false peace. I drank my coffee and watched the morning light fill the kitchen. In a few hours, I'd go back to the office. There was work to do. There was always work to do. But for now, I sat in my kitchen, in the house I'd bought 40 years ago, and I felt grateful. Grateful for my daughter, for friends like James, for a lawyer like Robert, for a life built on honest work and fair dealing. Derek had tried to take it all. He'd failed. And I was still here, still standing, still fighting. At 67, with aching knees and gray hair, I was still the man who'd come to Canada with nothing and built something worth protecting. And nobody, not even family, was going to take that away from me. Not without a fight.